Young New York voters are enthusiastic about the 45th president. Timothy A. CLARYAFP via until recently. Democrats' biggest concern about the 2024 youth elections was that millennial and Gen Z voters were so disillusioned with our octogenarian president that they might not turn out in large enough numbers to re-elect Joe Biden. After all, young voters were largest and fastest growing segment of the Democratic base in last election. But now polls are starting to reveal a much more frightening possibility Donald Trump could carry the youth vote next year. And even if that threat is exaggerated or reversible, it is becoming increasingly clear that the kids may be swing voters, not unenthusiastic Democratic base voters fearful of the possibility of Trump returning. NBC News reports that this is a poll trend that can't be ignored or ignored. The latest national NBC News poll shows President Joe Biden trailing former President Donald Trump among young voters ages 18 to 34. Trump receives support from 46 of these young voters and Biden from 42. CNN's latest national poll showed Trump ahead of Biden by 1 point among voters aged 18-34. Quinnipiac University found Biden ahead by 9 points in this subgroup. And the latest New York TimesSiena College battleground state poll showed Biden with a lead of just 1 point among voters ages 18 to 34. According to Pew's verified voter analysis, Biden won voters under 30 by a 59% to 35% margin in 2020. Biden actually won the next age group, voters ages 30 to 49, by a margin of 55% to 43%. Pew reported that in 2016, Hillary Clinton won voters under 30 by a 58-28 margin and voters 30 to 44 by a 51-40 margin. So a baby boomer Democrat and a silent generation Democrat kicked Trump's ass among younger voters, despite both being kicked around by Bernie Sanders among younger primary voters. It's numbers like these have led to a lot of optimistic talk that a younger generation of voters is finally forming. The resilient Democratic majority eluded the party for many years. First, it's important to note that yesterday's young voters are not today's young voters. As Nate Silver reminds us in the 2020 election, 1/3 of voters 18-29 will have aged out by 2024. While in the 2016 election, 2/3 of voters 18-29 and all from 2012. These voters are now in the 3041 age group. But even among relatively new groups of young voters, there are numerous micro and macro level explanations for shifting allegiances. Young voters share national unhappiness with the performance of the economy. Many are particularly affected by high basic living costs and high interest rates that make buying a home or even a car unusually difficult. Some are angry at Biden for failing to cancel student loan debt. And most famously, younger voters are least likely to share Biden's strong identification with Israel in its ongoing war with Hamas. More generally, as youth voting expert John Della Volpe recently explained,